What is going on, everybody? Today will be a fun little video because we're finally getting heat and air conditioning in the back half of the shop today. Alright, so I don't think this should be too big of a project, mainly because I did one before, right here. Going up to, this is the composites part of the shop up here. So this is the one I went with, the 24K, the DIY. The DIY is cool because it comes pre-charged. Once you hook up the internal unit and the outside one, you just kind of turn a little valve, you hear it fill the system with Freon or whatever, and you're good to go. I'm going to try and go over it as good as I can because after doing the first one, you know, they're pretty easy. So if you got a shop where you think like, man, it'd be really nice to have air conditioning or heat all out of the same unit, you know, these are actually really good options. So the one thing I'm going to change is I got a bunch of stone in the bed. The outside unit is going to go right here on the back half of the shop. I'm going to put down some weed barrier, then stone, and then I got one of the little pads. You can see the one up there. So this one, you can see I only put it on the little pad right there. And the grass kind of grows around it and all the weeds and everything behind it. So that's one change I'm going to make on this one. Just take the little bit of time to you know, make a bed for it a little bit, but not go as hardcore as putting it on like a concrete pad. Here's my helper today. Alright, so picking up right where we left off, we got the outside unit good, everything looks, I'm happy with all that. So now we're going to run the conduit up the wall. I'm actually going to poke it in through the soffit, so that way we can just go right into the building. I'll show you. Because at the moment, I don't have insulation, but we'll poke out right there and then just run along the joist and then down to the electrical panel. So I forgot to get little clips to hold that conduit in place. I did get the outdoor junction box. Now this is where I'm going to vary a little bit from like a, I guess I'll say like a professional install. It's recommended to use an outside service disconnect, but as you just saw, since the circuit breaker is right on the other side of the wall, and this is a DIY kit, it's like if any service needs to be done, I'll just hit the breaker inside the building. It's not a big deal. So yeah, let's kind of start knocking out the wiring. Alright, so conduit is ran. Here's our outside junction box. This thing is called a whip, and you can get these pre-made at pretty much any hardware store, like Home Depot, Lowe's, anything like that. And you can see it comes with the wires needed to hook to the air conditioner. Now they give you a little diagram here as well as the directions that come with the unit, but you can see red, white, black to indoor unit. So once we mount the indoor unit and the wires come down, and then you got load 1, load 2, and your ground. And these 3D units, or 3 wire units come pre-assembled with your load 1, load 2, and your ground. The one on the right does not get used, so pretty simple to do the electric on these, but if you're not comfortable with it, you know, hire an electrician or, you know, consult somebody in your area. So yeah, now I think what I'm going to do is kind of start working on the indoor unit. The inside unit, I think I'm going to move it over a bay and put it over there. That way it's just kind of a little bit more central to this whole room. The line that comes with it, I believe, is 24 feet. So that's plenty to make it from the indoor unit out the wall and down to the unit over here. So yeah, I got to get up there. I got to put some sort of you know, thick plywood on the joist. I'll get rid of that little shelf thing right there, put a heavy duty piece of plywood to mount the unit to, and kind of just continue running everything. Alright, so the inside is actually done. Off camera I drilled the exterior hole. That is like kind of like a foam, I think it's a 5mm foam foil insulation. That with the air gap created by these 2x4s will give me a little bit of insulation in here. Obviously, I think I mentioned earlier, got to insulate the ceiling and everything, but you know, it's down the road. But yeah, so we're actually done on the inside. Like that's all you got to do is mount that. We'll go around outside. Here's where they come out of the wall. They give you like a little sleeve thing to go right there. I'll install that. And then the only kind of thing you really need to buy is if you want some sort of like trim cover. I'll show you what I did on the other one. So you can see where this one pokes through the wall, this plastic cover almost makes it end up looking like a downspout or something, but you know, you can kind of just cover your lines almost all the way down to the AC unit. All right, so I got the little trim ring in. Obviously those pipes are from the unit right on the other side of the wall. I think one thing I would change is I maybe should have came outside and went through like a flat area, because you can see how it sticks out a little bit. But they give you this stuff called packing clay. I think it's called packing clay. Sealing clay. It comes with like a little packet. So I kind of mushed that all in there to like seal up any holes or anything. So I'm not really worried about rain, especially since the soffit kind of comes out a little bit. We should be fine. But yeah, that's kind of one thing I should have maybe thought a little bit more ahead about. But yeah, so from this point, unroll the line. We're gonna hook it up, kind of come straight down, straight over, so that way I can use that, you know, that cover stuff that I showed in a previous clip, and then come out to the side, hook in the hard lines, and then that bit of it is done. Then we just got to finish up the electrical, running electric to it. Oh, and that black wire, while we're over in here, we'll hook up, you know, all that stuff as well. All right, so our two fittings, or you know, two connections here are tight. I'm leaving them unwrapped because we got to test them for pressure or leaks. And then these two fittings right here. So otherwise, all the other connections are done, you know, at the factory inside the unit. So it's just those four fittings. At this point, we're going to crack open the valves right here. You'll probably hear like a little bit of rush because this comes pre-filled with the Freon. Which kind of, that's the whole DIY bit of it. You know, you don't need an AC tech to come out and charge the system. So yeah, we're gonna crack that open, check for leaks, and then keep moving. All right, see if we can hear it. Ooh. So this pipe is really cold right now. All right, let's open it all the way. Now our leak solution, it's just a little bit of soapy water. And the smaller line. We're pretty good. These we just got to check for bubbles. I think we're good. So this one went as smooth as the other one. You don't need any sealant on the threads because it uses an O-ring seal. So you just got to kind of like make sure they're snug. and that's about it. You know, pretty easy. So yeah, let's go. We're gonna hop on to the electrical. We're kind of like on the home stretch with this thing. All right, so we're gonna hop up on the inside and run our wire from inside down. Let's see, what I got is this 10-2 wire. Now, if you remember on the whip on the outside, you got your red, black, and green. There's no white wire. Just the way kind of 240 volts work. You can kind of YouTube that or Google that if you're kind of more interested in like the electrical aspect. But 10-2 will work. You just got to mark the white wire as a hot wire. All right, so here's our 10-2. There it is. Hold out just enough to make your connections. It's about good. We're going to trim these ones down. Somewhere around there. I'm going to tag the white wire as hot. And then black to black. We're going to do white to red. And the grounds. I maybe should have used a maybe like a 1-inch. This is 3/4, a little bit tight in there, but you know, it's only 3 wires, so it all fits. All right, so we installed our whip earlier. This one just goes through. They make it easy for you on this one because they give you the little fittings on the end. One is red. I'm looking at the diagram right here. 2 is white. 3 is black. And then your ground. All right, so what I'm going to do on the inside here, I don't have, I guess like a horseshoe type spade, which would be nice to go into these. So I have these ones, which will be easy enough to go and just slip right on these top, male spades. So once I install these, they'll just come in from the top. It's the same exact thing as making the connection here. All right, let's make our hot connections. We'll go red with red. Black will go on blue. And then our ground wire. All right, so our electrical hookups on the outside are done. Our line is ran. I'm not going to get into it in this video, like the finishing touches of putting like the trim on that, or kind of tidying this up. That's just kind of common sense at that point. But those are the main connections to kind of get everything working. Now the last thing left to do will be to run our electrical from there across and down to the circuit breaker. All right, so we ran our wire. You can see I put a junction box up there. I also ran some 12-3 Romex along with it, as you can see, and then there's a junction box right there. That 12-3 will give me 2 circuits to drop down electric outlets, like maybe on every post or wherever I need them along this back wall. So I just did it at the same time. But yeah, so we're hooked up to our circuit breaker. I actually flipped it on, and you know, the numbers popped up for a second, but the unit is not on, so it's just kind of like asleep right now. So now what we need to do is flip the lid open and put, where is it? Here's all the stuff that comes with it, you know, all the instructions and everything. Since I did that one, you know, I kind of didn't really need to do any of this. Here's some like rubber sticky pads for the connections outside, remote, but I end up using my phone, so I use this thing. And then a few other little parts and some batteries for the remote. So we're gonna plop this in and get it working. All right, so all that was in that box is this little USB thing, which allows it to connect to your Wi-Fi. And just plug it in right there. Oh, I just blinked, so I'm assuming that's good. All right, so I'm going to try and do this real time. I did not do this ahead of time, so we're going to do this together. I'm in the Mr. Cool app, which I already had on the phone. I'm adding a device. It's got power. Okay. Look up the Wi-Fi. Hit this smart HVAC. Oops, where'd it go? All right, connected to it. I don't know why it's not picking up my other one. Garage. You know, let's do custom. Back shop. All right, so it took me a second because back shop, if you saw it, it said "Grr, so many cats," but I have a Wi-Fi extender. I don't know why it didn't find that one. So anyways, once I got on that, there you go. So you can see I got the composite shop and the back shop, and I can control it with the phone from wherever I'm at. The remote does work as well, but I usually just kind of put that on the wall and just do it all from the phone. Guys, so I got the little infrared thing attached to the phone. This thing's pretty cool. I got it when I bought the house and the shop to see where I'm like leaking stuff. But you can see we're pretty much, this wall is 87, 88 degrees or so. And then where the air conditioner is, bam. See, so the air coming out is 60, I can't quite get it, 62, 63 or so. Here, let's see how hot my chicken is. Look, he's hotter than everything around it. Oh, that's funny. Alright guys, I think that's where we're gonna wrap this one up. The air's working, blowing cold. I'm gonna skip like those little, you know, finishing touches, like putting the plates on the electrical boxes or you know, the cover on the outside lines. That's just simple stuff. So I hope you kind of learned something from this. This is the second Mr. Cool DIY mini split that I've installed in this shop. They do make ones with like 2 head units, I think even 3 head unit ones. They make smaller ones, they make bigger ones. I'm gonna put a link to this exact unit in the video description below, along with a few other things like the line covers and everything that might kind of help you install one in your shop. So as always guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.